Santana with Rob Thomas. It's called Smooth. I love how the voice sounds with the guitar. All kinds of great Las Vegas hotels behind me as I get shaded briefly by a bridge. I'm going to tell you more about the Sports and Music Fest a little later on. Remember, I caught up with the cast of Dogma. Kevin Smith, the writer-producer, was so amazing to sit down with. We talked about the controversy surrounding the film and some of the hate mail he's received. Take a look at part one of my time with Kevin Smith. I'm sitting here with Kevin Smith, the writer, director, and also acts in Dogma. He plays Silent Bob, as we know you well as that character.
Thank you.
How are you? Thanks for
good. Thanks for giving me props as an actor. I rarely get that. Rarely.
This movie is going to bring a lot of controversy, but I don't think in the way that people expect. Like, even I, seeing the trailers, went into the film expecting something totally different than what I got. And do you think the controversy is going to be like lived up to, or are people going to be let down?
I think most people walking into this flick thinking that they're in for a controversial movie or a movie that like kind of does this to the church for 2 hours are in for a big disappointment, you know, because it's not really that. It's actually really kind of devout flick. I mean, the controversy will be that they were sold a false bill of goods, you know. It's like this isn't a movie that has teeth or attacks the church. It actually upholds everything the church believes in.
Right.
F this. I've seen a lot of hate mail in regards to the movie. Yeah, it's been pretty weird, and I mean, I haven't received the brunt of it, right, because I'm Catholic, so they just say he should know better. But when this was a Miramax film, Bob and Harvey Weinstein, still to this day, even though they're not involved with the movie anymore, get tons and tons of hate mail, you know, and anti-Semitic stuff that you just wouldn't believe. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that you shake your head and go like, yeah, I'm sorry, they're supposed to be Christians.
Yeah, exactly. What a contradiction to what you say you believe.
It is, because I've read the Bible a few times in the teaching of Christ, and he didn't mention anything about shotguns and killing Jews. You know,
just
it
because
wasn't really
they didn't believe in Jesus.
Right.
I'm looking forward to that. November 12th is when Dogma comes out. Stick around. More from Kevin Smith, more from Las Vegas, and a video from Mr. Lou Bega. Mambo number 5 coming up when Hot Zone comes right back. That's the lady from Juvenile. Back that thing up. Juvenile's going to be part of our Sports and Music Fest 3D weekend coming at you from the beautiful Las Vegas. My butt is on the Strip right now, checking out all the great buildings. It's only my second time in Vegas, and I got a little more time to spend. So you and I are going to explore the city all week long, and Juvenile's going to be performing along with tons of other great people. I'll tell you all about that during the show. Let's get to part 2 of my chat with Kevin Smith, the writer and director of Dogma. Check it out. How did you come to God's view of reflecting like Alanis?
Looking like Alanis. Well, Alanis was a friend first and foremost, and I really dig her. You know, she's really nice. You met her. She's just really great. And since you met her, you know, like if you sit in her presence, you're hanging out with her for like 2 minutes.
I totally get why you choose her.
Yeah,
you get
she's a very ethereal cat, and
so.
has a very spiritual nature about her. And you could be sitting there and having just the worst day of your life. I just said the S word on TV. But
okay,
you can have the worst day of your life. Or just, you know, bogged down by pressure or the kind of crap we get in stress and whatnot. And after hanging out there for a few minutes, you're like, everything's okay, isn't it? She's one of those people. She's very rare, you know. And I'm sure some people bag on her and stuff because whatever she.
Well, because they don't get it.
Yeah, they don't get it, or you know, it's common and great, and one of the great American national pastimes to backlash anything you once liked before as soon as it gets really popular.
Oh, right,
but
like Hanson.
Like Hanson.
It almost seems like every actor's dream to get a film where they actually get to reflect probably what they believe is true in the real scheme of things of how we perceive God. And it's also well written, it's well done, it's funny.
Right,
you know?
I mean, I think most people like to be funny.
And doesn't exclude reality. Like people are cussing, they're like,
it's different, it's just different. It's not like a movie. I mean, say what you will about the movie, maybe people will think it's just horrible, or like, I can't believe the Clerks guy's making another movie, why do they keep giving him money? But I mean, the movie is different, you know, it's really different than most other flicks that are out there. I've never seen anything quite like it, so I mean, you at least got to give me props for that.
Props. And I give you props for that.
Thank you.
For real.
Thank you.
That's right. Y'all better go check out Dogma. November 12th is when it opens. I got more from Vegas on the way. Little Jennifer Lopez coming up for you after break. Hot Zone is coming right back from the Las Vegas Strip, baby.
Has come down from above. Dogma is out of this world.
No way!
The New York Times says it's wildly irreverent, boldly funny. This is one of the best films of the year.
Outstanding work!
Dogma, rated R, starts Friday in theaters everywhere. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are two fallen angels having a blast, turning the world upside down, unless these guys can stop them.
That sucks!
Dogma.
Outstanding work!
Rated R. Starts Friday in theaters everywhere.
We're back. We're in Los Angeles. My first guest tonight received an Oscar for Good Will Hunting and has also starred in such films as Armageddon and Shakespeare in Love. His latest movie, Dogma, opens this Friday. Let's take a look.
Man, now here's what I don't get about you, man. Why do you feel the need to come to this place all the time?
Oh, my friend, because this is humanity at its best.
Look at them.
All that anger, all that mistrust, all that unhappiness, forgotten for that one perfect moment when they get off the plane. See those two? What that guy doesn't know is that the girl cheated on him while she was away.
She did?
Twice.
Nice.
But it doesn't matter right now, because they're just both so relieved to be with one another. I like that.
Please welcome Ben Affleck.
Very exciting.
That's nice.
Very nice. You serving drinks in the line outside?
Yeah, there we did. We have a kegger going here.
You can tell.
Yeah. How are you?
Really good. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing great. Thanks. Very nice to have you on the
Very
show.
exciting. Wow. You
Yeah,
know,
we
you're
wanted
in
some
LA.
big names in L.A. We certainly got
I'm
one.
sorry. I didn't play it out for you.
No, it's
Best
we
you
who are
could do.
sorry. Yeah.
I thought you guys were doing well too.
Yeah, no. Nice to have you here. We've actually, you've been in the newspapers a bit lately.
I have been.
You should talk about this. We usually get guests long after their little scandal is over. You had yours, what, just last week?
You guys couldn't book Botafuco right after it happened.
We're getting him in about a month. We'll figure out what happened with him, but you've been in the papers. What's been going on?
Well, I had a little bit of a, I did this interview, right, and with Playboy magazine, and I thought, because they were doing this movie Dogma, and it was kind of edgy, and so they thought, well, you do the weird magazines, the Playboys, the adult stuff.
Right,
and
you can get a little
told me
risque in those
You can get a little.
interviews.
In fact, that was the idea. They kept saying, look, it's an adult men's magazine. It's not, for the kids, so you can talk about the adult stuff. So. So they mentioned the sort of popularity of Viagra in this interview, the interviewer. And I thought it would kind of be funny to joke about taking Viagra.
Yeah.
See, I don't really take Viagra, no.
It doesn't work.
No.
Or so I'm told. Well, thank you. Thanks, buddy. I'll get my lesbian kiss after all. All right. So
I went in the thing and I said, oh, yeah, well, you take Viagra when you're 27 to feel like you're 15, but then I said, oh, I almost had a heart attack, and, I fell over, and I thought it was kind of funny, maybe not that fun. I'm not a professional comedian like you.
Neither am I.
But this is like one of those examples of how weird my life is. And then, like, it got published, and the people from the company got very upset with
the
me.
Pfizer people.
The Pfizer people, the good people from Pfizer, and they issued a statement in response to what I said, which was that Viagra is not for recreational use. In fact, it's purely for medical use, and recreational use is entirely inappropriate.
Do not give it, do not listen to Ben Affleck.
No, don't. And but then it occurred to me, like, well, isn't that the whole point? That it's recreational use?
It is for recreational.
Like, I mean, when does it get medical? Even Bob Dole, he takes it really seriously, and he's like, stay still, Liddy. This is serious business.
Wait a minute. You just ruined our cool LA set. Our set is made of spun sugar. It's melting now. No, but, I mean, they do. I mean, I've heard stories that they hand Viagra out in clubs here. I don't know if that's true, that if you go to certain clubs, they hand it out. It'll be a dessert topping in like a year. Yeah.
You can get that with the coffee, you know what I mean?
Put some Viagra on my Frogurt. Let's talk about...
They weren't that pleased with me, really.
No, don't worry. Did your parents get upset about this? I always worry about what my parents are going to see.
Yeah, see, I have a problem with that, where I don't think about it. I do the interviews, and I think it's like me and the guy, and we're kind of talking and hanging out, and then I got this email, because my mom my mom discovered the email, you know what I mean? And she's like, I love the email. You can write the letters, you know?
Right.
And so I get the email from my mom, and then I got this email the other day where subject line was just Playboy interview. And it occurred to me that maybe it wasn't the best idea to be talking about, you know, maintaining and achieving erections in the interview that my mom was reading. Yeah. But then this note from her was like, it's really a nice interview. You're so funny and very charming. I thought, that's a mom, right?
Yeah, she's got to stand by you.
Me. Yeah, she does. Yeah. I'm sorry about the problem.
She should be proud that you're trying to deal with it. Now, Dogma, let's talk about Dogma, because you did this with your good friends, Matt Damon, of course, Kevin Smith. These are good...
Very cool people, yeah.
These are pals of yours. I was thinking, if you're doing a movie with friends like that, does the set, is it a lighter atmosphere? Do you goof around?
Yeah, it's definitely a lighter atmosphere. I mean, one of the nice things is, like, you know, I know Matt, I did a bunch of movies with Kevin, and then, but then there are people that I didn't know, you know what I mean, who you get a little bit sort of more nervous about, like Chris Rock, who I've always been a fan of Chris Rock, and he's very funny. So I thought I'd, you know, like, try and see if Rock had a sense of humor in real life. Because if you notice that, you must meet a lot of comics and stuff, and you think, hey, this guy's really funny, and then you kind of meet him, and you try to throw a joke at him. And in person, a lot of
comedians are, like, sort of self-hating and quiet.
Yeah, they take it really seriously, and you say something you think is kind of funny, and they're like, yeah, man. Yeah. You know, and so I figured...
I thought I was very nice to you backstage.
I thought you...
Yeah.
But, so
you're going down, Affleck.
You better do my show, that's right.
Yeah.
But, so I went up to Rock, and I said, hey, Chris, you know, and we were kind of talking, and then halfway through the conversation, I was like, you know, I got to go use the phone. You think I should dial 1-800-COLLECT? But,
did he like that?
He did like it. He went for it. Turns out he had a sense of humor. He's like, yeah, that's funny.
I like your Chris Rock, yeah.
Yeah, I do a good Rock.
You've done the big budget films.
I have, yeah.
Like Armageddon. You've also done the movies with practically no budget. What's it like going from one to the other? You're on a movie where they put $800 billion into it, and then you're on a movie that's like $13,000. The
main difference, well, the really lowest budget movie I did was Chasing Amy, which was Kevin Smith's movie about all the people who saw the movie sitting in this audience are here. And I went and did that movie, and it was like a $200,000 budget, which is almost nothing. And so one of the things, the ways that was different from that, from Armageddon, was that I had to stay at Kevin's house on his couch while we were making the movie.
Was it a fold-out couch?
It was a fold-out.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so it was
It was a fold-out couch.
But one of them, you get to learn things about people. I actually prefer that experience. For example, the other woman in the movie at the time was dating Kevin. And the nice thing that I got to learn about him during the course of my stay there was that when special time happens, the Moonlighting soundtrack goes on. What? You know the TV series Moonlighting?
Yeah. What are you talking about? That's what he would make love to?
Evidently. I mean, I wasn't like...
Not like Barry White or...
No, he would throw on Moonlight. And it's not just the theme song. It's like songs inspired by the television series. You know what I mean? So you always knew when Moonlighting came on that maybe don't go knocking on the door, because that was friendly time.
I used the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang soundtrack.
You know who doesn't?
Yeah.
You know who doesn't? I always like the...
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Chitty, yeah! And I get going. It works for me. You should try it.
I will try that.
No, you won't. You're lying to me. Dogma, which I saw, which is a fascinating movie. I haven't ever seen a movie quite like this before.
It's weird. It's funny. That clip was kind of a somber, like, meditation on the human existence. It's actually sort of a fun... I think that was the only clip that could be shown on TV, because there are the swear words.
It's an interesting, fascinating movie. People should check it out. Dogma opens this Friday. Ben, really cool to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming here. Nice to have you. Ben Affleck, Denise Richards, coming up. We'll be right back. Stick around. I just, you know, Matt...
The latest from Britney Spears. It's called Crazy. Darren Henson choreographed that. Good job. This is Ananda. Of course, you're watching Hot Zone, and we're hanging out here in Las Vegas for the Sports and Music Fest coming at you this weekend. We've got a lot to fit in, so let me skip the SMF 3D info. I'll give you that later. Let's talk about Dogma. This film opens Friday, and this weekend I got to sit down with the cast. Yesterday, we talked to Kevin Smith. Today, we're going to talk to Linda Fiorentino first. Let's see what she had to say about her character, her religion, and her faith. Take a look. I'm sitting with Linda Fiorentino, who plays Bethany in Dogma. Gosh, Bethany becomes almost this, like, martyr woman. You know what I mean? How did that feel as an actress? And thinking of, like,
the same way I feel today. I feel like a martyr doing the press junket. Like, this is my 30th interview, and it's only halfway done. So there's some martyrdom going on here today.
Over again, right? You got to hold it up. Do you think, like I think when I sat and watched the film, it's a long time coming for a film like this that actually deals honestly, realistically, and really pervasively, like over everybody's religion, with the topic of religion, and more so faith. Was that true for you when you read the script? You said finally, or?
Well, I mean, I wasn't really looking for a movie that had, you know, religious content in it. You know, anything that didn't say sexy, sultry was good enough for me, and this certainly, you know, fit the bill in that respect.
Yeah, true. You also called your character Bethany a version of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. And then when I heard you say that, like when I heard that you said that, I thought of it again. And yeah, there's like Toto, there's the Scarecrow, and everybody's
Cowardly
there.
Lion,
Yeah.
you know.
The Tin Man.
Exactly.
Everybody's there.
And we all, I think,
Kevin
you know,
didn't do that on purpose.
I think he may have subconsciously have done that, or he may have even followed the structure, but I think I was the only one who guessed that he had done that.
Really? I guess we
But
all
I
kind
lived
of
with a
carry.
screenwriter for 7 years, so I kind of look at that. I look at the structure of the screenplay.
You think about it pretty
But I needed something, you know, to be able to identify, you know, the each like section of the film. I needed something, and it's kind of, you know, how Dorothy like loses her faith and, you know, wants to get away and run away from home, and you know, and then she finds out in the end that home is
meets Oz, the wizard.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's all
Alan
there.
Rickman is Glinda.
Exactly.
The Good Witch.
Exactly.
See?
Wow.
I think we uncovered something.
I highly recommend Dogma. It challenges everything you think you believe, and I think that's a good thing. So stick around. I'm going to talk with Selma Hayek. We're going to talk about her musing in the film. Also, more from Las Vegas about SMF 3D and a timely video from Will Smith. Take a little break and come right back for more Hot Zone from Las Vegas.
What do a single white female, two prophets,
Guys, I guess just don't follow the sky, you know?
the 13th apostle,
Oh, that sucks!
and
Let me guess, the 14th apostle.
have in common? They're all trying to stop two fallen angels from destroying all existence.
Outstanding work!
Dogma,
You know what the dead do most of their time? Watch the living, especially in the shower.
rated R, starts Friday in theaters everywhere.
Alanis Morissette, Uninvited. Love that. Sananda, this is Hot Zone, of course, still hanging out in Vegas. And speaking of Alanis, she has a very big role in Dogma. Not that you see her all through the movie, but it's a very important role that she plays. Right now, it's time to chat with another cast member, Selma Hayek, who's a muse in Dogma. Let's talk about her character. Take a look.
No, I play a muse, and I play a wonderful character because she's a muse that has an existential crisis. And it's very, very valid because she feels that she's been overlooked. She feels that she has inspired all these great artists of the world like Mozart and Shakespeare and Picasso, and they have gotten all the fame and respect and adoration from the public. What about me? Okay? Nobody acknowledges that serendipity was part of that process. Nobody gives me credit for all my work that I've been doing through time, through history. Yeah. So she asks God for permission to come to Earth and try her own fame and fortune as a writer.
And that doesn't work, and she turns
out. And that doesn't work at all.
We got more from TJ Lavin's house on the way, more SMF 3D, a video from Brandy and her friend, and more Sunday stuff up here in Vegas. Come on back, more Hot Zone in a minute.
Two fallen angels are about to set the right things wrong.
Outstanding work!
Unless these guys can stop them.
Oh, that sucks!
The New York Times says Dogma is mercilessly funny.
Oh, lighten up!
Newsweek calls it
Survey says
outrageous. It's one of the best and most exciting films of the year.
What about sex? No sex.
Dogma.
I'd love to keep those guys on their toes.
Rated R. Starts Friday in theaters everywhere.
From Enrique Iglesias. It's called Rhythm Divine. As you can see, I'm highly distracted by all the great clothing here at the Attic in Las Vegas. I'm going to tell you more about the Sports and Music Fest, which is why we're in Las Vegas. But first, remember I was telling you I checked in with the cast of Dogma? All right, let's check out part one of my talk with Chris Rock, who talked about a number of things concerning his role in Dogma. Take a look. I'm Sananda here hanging out with Chris Rock, stars in Dogma.
Sizzle, baby!
So first off, nice ass. I never got to see your ass before.
Well, I know.
Really,
we've never got around to that.
We never got around to
you
that.
And I.
Were those squats, or is that like an implant job? It was like bubbly.
I did a lot of work on the ass. Yeah.
I'm like, what? He threw me off in that. Like,
Yeah, when you see the director's cut, it's really...
It's good. Did you roll over on that?
Yeah.
Okay, cut it out. Kevin says he hates improv and specifically asked you to stick to the lines, but you did go off on one.
A couple.
A couple? They told me one. How difficult was that for you? I mean, being an improv king, like how difficult was that for you to just be like meticulous?
It wasn't that hard because the script was really good, and so the scenes were already funny. Normally, you have to improv because they give you a plate because the scene's dead, and it's like, come on, help us out here.
Give us something.
Give us something. But it wasn't that hard because I really, especially after seeing Chasing Amy, I had such a respect for Kevin. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put myself in his hands.
That's Chris Rock in Dogma. Very funny in this film. We got more from him when we get back. Plus, a little more hot videos for you. Got the latest from Fiona Apple and more hot stuff from Vegas. You guys get out of here and take a break. I'm going to try on some coats. It's colder in New York than it is here. I'll see you in a minute. Brian McKnight's called Back at One. Do another video in the shower, Brian. It's a nod to hear Back at the Attic in Las Vegas. Not only do they have really cool clothing, furniture is off the hook. And look, LPs, baby, the dinosaurs of the music business. We got more cool stuff coming up. Let's take a look at part 2 of my talk with Chris Rock, of course, about his role in the upcoming film Dogma. Take a look. So what about the swearing in the movie? I think one of the biggest things, like, religious people are going to say is, hey, don't cuss in the... But do you think apostles really cussed?
Hey, I mean, what's cursing, though? Think about cursing.
Yeah.
It's not the words, it's the intent of the words. Is there any footage of a Hitler cursing? No. But he
was cussing.
But he was cursing.
Everything he said was a curse word.
Everything he said was a curse word, you know?
The 13th apostle, that's who you play, isn't mentioned in the Bible, feels completely disrespected because of that. But I didn't get what you were doing for the last, like, 2,000 years in between. What were you doing?
I had a show on the UPN. That
was... Brothers from Outer Space. Stop it. Did I say that? You get to come back together with some people you worked before that you hadn't seen in a while?
Everybody. I just met everybody on this movie. I didn't know anybody.
Really?
And it was great. It was
refreshing?
It was refreshing because everybody was kind of going through the same things. Everybody was kind of like in a similar space in their career. Everybody was coming off major success.
Yeah, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, you guys.
They won the Oscar while we were filming the movie.
Really?
And, you know, Alanis was just coming off of her thing, and Kevin just did Amy, and I just did Bring the Pain. And it was weird, and it was great to be around all these people at the same time.
Energy must have been nice.
It was like it was a weird energy.
Do you agree with Kevin's appearance of God? Did you like that?
Well, God is whoever, the appearance of God is, it's going to be different for everybody. It's basically whoever can talk the most sense into you. Whoever can crack through all your BS is going to be God. And that, for Kevin, that person was Alanis Morissette.
Right. Good old Chris Rock. That was a lot of fun. All right, we got more stuff coming up. One more hot video. Fat Boy Slim is on the way, plus more from the attic. I'm going to try on some more clothes and try to find myself some bargains. We'll be right back. Hot stuff in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, the star of Politically Incorrect, Bill Maher. Bill's guests tonight, ER's Laura Innes, Howie Mandel, Dogma director Kevin Smith, and Bob Larson.
Fantastic. What a crowd. Please. Thank you very much. I know why you're... I don't know why you're that excited. But there was some good news today. President Clinton said today, he said the Y2K bug will cause no major problems when we finally hit December 31st. And, whew, an anxious nation breathes easier. No, the president said, I thought this was quite a quote, he said that this is the greatest management challenge the world has faced since World War II. Wow. And Bill Gates called it the exciting new feature of the Windows operating system. Well, this is a big week for the military. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. Today was the 224th anniversary of the Marines. Any Marines here? There you simplify, exactly. Who, by the way, are awfully sensitive about the gays in the military issue. Today, they announced that they're over Hill, but no longer over Dale. Now, hey, Speaking about sensitive to gay, do you know that Pokemon, the movie, opened today and already protests? I tell you, every time that there's a kid's, do you remember Teletubbies? Tinky Winky? Oh, yeah. The Christian right is protesting, saying, if he's not gay, why isn't it Poke-Woman? That's, really, silly. And finally, you may have heard about this. There's a big controversy down in Miami. A restaurant is being sued because the owner of the restaurant added a tip to a black customer's check because he said black people don't tip as much. It's not me. This is what this guy said. And already there's a huge firestorm about it. Louis Farrakhan today called on OJ to kill another waiter. All right. That's me, our panel. He has his own radio show, and his book is Extreme Evil, Kids Killing Kids. Ugh, Bob Larson. Bob. Oh. Hey, Bob. Good to see you again. Thank you. That's the feel-good book of the summer. He's the critically acclaimed director of Clerks, and Chasing Amy, his new one, Dogma, opens tomorrow. Kevin Smith, director. Kevin Smith. Kevin, how are you? No, right there. She is one of the fine stars of ER Thursday nights on another network like you don't know it's NBC. Laura Innes, right over here. Hey, gorgeous. Thank you for coming. And he's a fabulous actor, comedian, and cartoon character. Howie Mandel is over here. Howie Mandel. How are you? Okay. All right. Kevin, let's get right into your movie. It opens tomorrow, Dogma, and like a lot of movies that deal with religion, people are protesting it who have never seen it and will never see it.
I saw it and I'm protesting it.
You saw it already?
I saw it already. I saw it last night.
Did we start already?
No, it's not out, but I guess you got to...
It's not out, but I've seen it.
Right.
This is not the Divine Comedy. This is Satan Meets South Park.
I thought South Park was Satan Meets South Park.
Okay, now, for those of you who
But
don't...
when he says that, it makes me want to go see it.
Yeah. Which is how these movies very often get a lot of extra business.
Yes. It's been a self-defeating campaign on the behalf of the people that have spoken out about the movie.
Right.
I just don't believe that if you want someone to ignore something, that you point at and scream, don't look, see it, don't look at it. If you don't want people to know it, just ignore it, let it go away. It's a movie, it'll be gone in a week.
Well, in spite of the fact I may be the best publicity you've got, I still think, not even being Catholic, somebody has to speak out against the outrage of this film. I mean...
well, let me tell you some of the things that are in the movie, excuse me, and then we'll go right to you. All right. It's about two fallen angels who are trying to sneak back into heaven through a divine loophole, okay? The hero is a descendant of Jesus Christ, which kind of intimates that he was active.
No. It says that you're going to be in more trouble than I'm in already, and this guy's sitting across from me.
I missed that part.
Right. Well, that's not in it, Bob. Trust me. It says that Christ had brothers and sisters after Mary's virgin birth. He had brothers and sisters.
But she advocates abortion, right?
Well, she works in an abortion clinic.
Works in an abortion clinic. There's a 13th apostle who is black, who says he was sort of left out because he was black.
Right.
And John the Baptist is referred to as Jack. No, I made that last one. But, okay, so that's what people are upset about. Laura Innes now.
You know, I saw the movie Saturday night, and I'm just amazed at your reaction to the movie. Here is a person who's totally, in a very active and heartfelt way, trying to explore his beliefs and his faith in a contemporary way, which is throughout history, this is something that people have pursued, trying in their own way to define their religion.
Do we have to have a potty mouth prophet leading people to the divine gate to heaven?
At the end of the movie, there is so much finding of faith and love of God in this movie.
And bashing of the church. It's like the church has never done anything good. It's like there are no Rose Kennedys, there's no Mother Teresa's, there's no Catholic hospitals, there's no Catholic charities. It's like the church never did anything right.
But Bob, we tried to get Rose Kennedy, and it didn't pan out for us.
Let me ask something.
But wait a second, wait.
Well, you couldn't have her fall naked from the sky like you did Chris Rock.
Let's hear from the Jew.
Yeah.
You know, what I don't understand, and first of all, I want to say I'm the only one here that hasn't seen the movie. I didn't get invited to the movie yet, but I'm going to go when it opens. But I'm a fan of your earlier work, and from what I understand, and I may be wrong, and you're right here to tell me if I am, it's comedy.
Yes.
Right? It's a comedy, and it's a movie.
Yes.
And what I don't understand is how that can affect the church. How can a movie affect the church? If people are so ignorant that they will go to a movie, a comedy, and take what they are seeing to heart, like the 13th Apostle is actually Chris Rock, or that, you know, I mean, I don't understand.
Well, I agree.
But then we got a bigger problem than this movie.
It's probably as...
But isn't a bigger problem with the church is that nobody believes and follows what the church says anyway, including the Catholics. Catholics practice what they want to practice. They go to see the Pope because he's a big celebrity, but they go home and they masturbate, they practice birth control. Well, they do. They practice that many people can applaud with one hand.
But if you're going to deal with if you're going to deal with the serious issues of faith, of God, of the devil, of demons, of eternity, of heaven and hell, I mean, you have to have it one way or another. This is either a comedy. It's either irrelevant or it's irreverent.
It's a comedy.
I mean, but at times he gets very serious, and he has a lot of heavy theology.
Any comedy you've ever seen, I have not seen this one, but any comedy you've ever seen, aren't the issues always based in serious issues? Isn't it always a relationship comedy? Isn't it always an adventure? Isn't there...
Dog comedy as well.
That's what we're doing here. That's how we get our comedy.
And the fact of the matter is, anything that's...
We're laughing, we're talking about something serious.
Anything that's going to speak about faith to an audience that doesn't really think about faith or go to church anymore, even if you're doing it in a potty mouth fashion, isn't the end result what matters the most?
I think the end result is a challenge to authority, and I think, you know, and when that man walked into Wedgwood Baptist and said, religion is BS, and started firing away, I'm sorry. I think it's time to take a step back. It's our kids who are killed at Columbine. Our kids who are shot at Wedgwood Baptist. I don't think we need these type of religious challenges to authority.
What we need is commercials, more commercials. We'll be right back.
Join us tomorrow when our guests will be Eric Idle, Meredith Brooks, from Will and Grace, Eric McCormick, and Jack Berkman.
All right, we were talking about God and religion, and by the way, you look fantastic.
Oh, gosh, thanks.
And you said something interesting, Bob. You said, you know, that he is blasphemous, but, you know, Kevin is a practicing Catholic. Right? You go to church every Sunday.
Every Sunday on the holy days.
You tithe. You give 10% of
some of that money
10%. That's as much as we give to our agents.
Yeah, 10 to an agent, 10 to the
It reminds me of the way, because it was in the news today that Newt Gingrich's deposition was taken from his girlfriend of 6 years, that he was with her for 6 years while he was married. Okay? The Republicans always criticize Clinton for being what he is. But they get divorced. Clinton stayed with his wife and worked it through. It seems like the same thing. I mean, he's a Catholic who's working it through.
Working through, but working through what? By attacking every major tenet of the faith? You know,
that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. It doesn't attack every major tenet of the faith. It attacks the politics. If it attacks at all, it attacks maybe the politics of the church. But I don't even think it's an attack. I think it's a ribbing. And by sitting here and saying, like, it attacks every major tenet of the faith, and people hear that, they're like, God, he's right. I mean, he must be right. He's on TV and whatnot. But you have to know the benefit of letting people see something for themselves before making a judgment call. Plenty of people know, like, that you perform exorcisms, and they don't see it, and they're like, he must be a kook. But, like, if they saw you in action, you would like them to see you in action because they see the power of healing.
Some of the things that you challenge ought to be challenged.
You perform exorcisms?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
The real thing.
Is there a Jane Fonda tape for that I'm not aware of?
But there is and you know what? There's a real demon named Loki. I'm interested in knowing, how did you ever come up with that name? Because there really is a demon named that.
Contrary to what you may believe, I read sometimes.
Where do you...
But you know, the good that's coming out of this film is the fact that you're having this discussion right now, and that it is opening people's eyes to this. If there is one problem with the church or synagogue or whatever organized religion, is the fact that there aren't that many people, as Bill stated, flocking to it. So maybe through comedy and entertainment, more people will come to it and discuss it.
You do deal with...
Absolutely. The movie
you didn't
makes
evade
people
the most
talk.
important issues.
Thanks.
You didn't evade the important issues of life and death and eternity and God and the reality of Jesus Christ, and you've done a favor in doing that.
Exactly. I mean, any movie
But if I
that
may
sits there...
pause to correct something, you shouldn't, I don't think, lump in the synagogue with the church. They've operated very differently, okay? The synagogue, and I'm not Jewish, but I was raised Catholic, was never as corrupt as the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, which is people, not God, running it, okay, hugely corrupt, did horrible things through history, maybe, okay, because they were that powerful.
And a lot of good, too.
So, I mean, they shouldn't come into a little ribbing?
Absolutely. They've got some of it coming, particularly the plenary indulgence thing. I mean, I'm right with you on that.
Where do you get the power to perform? You're on my side.
I'm on your side when it comes to that. I'm even on your side in the issue of whether or not Mary and Joseph had children. I say right on.
I'm Protestant, yeah.
It's just that when you've got an F-word spouting, potty-mouthed prophet running around who's saving this woman who's had an epiphany, I'm sorry. I mean, this is kind of the dumb and dumber version of theology.
But that's there's an overriding problem with your point of view, from my perspective. Is there such hypocrisy about being so judgmental about somebody else's expression of their faith or search for their faith? And by the kind of thing that you're talking about is so alienating to people. And in my opinion, that kind of alienation is what causes the kind of problems you write about in your book. It's not that people don't need to be told how to think and what to think. You know, they need to find their path.
What's alienating is giving a message to our young people that they don't need to respect authority.
That's not the
giving them a message of religion.
The message is maybe think for yourself, which
good.
of course causes a lot of problems with religions. Because they don't want you to do that because it's called a religion.
And Bob, at the same time, you're Christian, yes?
Yes.
Isn't it better that somebody's out there talking about Christ, even if it isn't sometimes four-letter terms? It's not the whole movie. They don't always use the F word and talk naughty stuff, just sometimes. But isn't it better that somebody's out there talking about it rather than nobody, or ignoring it, or saying God is dead or something like that?
I think there's a constructive way to do it, and the constructive way to do it is not to take a celestial being, put her in a strip bar where men can oogle at her, and then the next thing we see, she's on an elevator to heaven.
Again, that makes me want to see it.
Okay, Kevin, this movie we're talking about opens Friday, not tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow we have Eric Idle, Meredith Brooks, and Eric McCormick from Will and Grace. And Friday we have our special child actor show. So you get home from the movie and see that. It'll take the edge off. Now, speaking of this kind of righteousness, John Glenn's book came out this week, and the big story in the book was that he said that he was passed over as the first guy to go up in space. He obviously was the first orbiter, but he wanted the first shot that Alan Shepard got. He said his fellow astronauts who got to vote on it voted him down because he was always lecturing them on keeping it zipped. You know, these were hot dog fighter pilots, and they were running around, you know, it was like the I Dream a Genie guy.
Right.
You know, I mean, they were astronauts running around Cape Canaveral, and they were getting astronaut tang. And they resented him for telling them that, because he wanted to stay home and polish his helmet. Okay, so who's right? Don't you think these guys were right?
Well, I think he miscalculated. I think that he purposely, he probably would have loved to have been a womanizer himself. And I think that he lectured them and tried to pee them off so that they would vote to get him out of there in space so there'd be more women for them to go around. If they could just get him up in space, then there would be... It didn't work out that way.
But don't you think in a life and death situation where you're in that capsule and, you know, your life is on the line, there are issues about integrity, regarding the people who surround you.
What does that have to do
and
with getting it
wouldn't
on
that
Earth?
reflect on their moral character?
Wait a second. If it's reflecting on their moral character, I mean, he's a guy in a spaceship and he's up in space. You're a minister, or you're
I'm a little bit of everything. You name it,
a little bit of everything.
He's an
But
exerciser.
and you exercise people, and you're a public figure, a role model of sorts. But there have been allegations about your past and whatnot.
People
that
say
are
all
pretty
types of things. When you're in the public eye, people say all kinds of things about you. Absolutely.
Exactly. But nobody says get him off the air because he might have cheated or he might have slept with some chicks or something like that. Let him do his job.
Well,
let everyone worry about it.
Wait a second. Yes.
This went from John Glenn to me.
They both seem to me to have like huge moral lapses, because whoever should have been voted in should have been voted in on their merit, even if he was a jerk for lecturing to them, and even, you know, whatever. If he was the guy, he should have been the guy. So they both, it sounded like everybody was
But didn't they all have equal merit? I think they all had equal merit, and they got to choose who was going to go first among
They had the right stuff. But wait a minute, you're comparing his ministry with astronauts. I mean, he's in the business of morality, and a little too far into it, in my opinion.
Excuse me?
These guys are astronauts. What the hell does that have to do with morality?
Is this the Jesse Ventura school? A tail hook is okay because these guys are risking their lives every day?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. You can't expect guys who risk their life, who are these kind of hotshot
To not
fighter
sexually
pilots.
harass women?
Yeah, but that's
Sexually harass.
Sexual harassment. That's what Jesse was saying was okay.
Nobody's talking about sexual harassment.
Right.
We're
In
talking
Jesse's
about
case.
having affairs, right?
Right.
Or
In Jesse's
sleeping
case,
around
they
or
were
whatever
sexually harassing women.
No, they weren't. They were at a...
Jesse going up into space now?
No. Wait, you're talking about... But you're talking about tailhook, right?
I'm talking about tailhook and Jesse Ventura's
about,
comments.
But tailhook wasn't harassment either. They all were at the same party. They were in Vegas. They were drunk. They were military. Grabbed a little ass. Let it go. Okay. But we're talking about, guys, this was the Cold War. The Cold War. We were fighting the Russians.
But they were going up one at a time, right? So each guy was probably going to be in a capsule for days alone. So you want to get your quota before you leave. You're going to be... right? And when you're up there alone, you got a glove on. Didn't the spacesuits have gloves? That's not fun.
Yeah.
Is it? That's the second masturbation joke you got off tonight. Class, well done.
You mean you're saying that it would be hard to hitchhike to heaven wearing a big space glove?
Talk about liftoff.
Is there a message in the fact that who are those men and are they known anywhere today? But look what happened to John Glenn, who became a very, very great American.
Oh, are you serious?
No, I don't think there's a message.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
No message.
Is there nothing to be said of the fact that his moral integrity helped to ground him as a human being to become the leader that he was for our country in the Senate?
But do you enjoy being lectured by other people who are your colleagues about your personal life choices? Would you enjoy that, and does it happen to you? Or are you
Sure,
the
it
one
happens
doing
to
the
me. I
lecturing?
think it happens to anybody who is in public life. But we're talking
I'm not talking. I'm talking about your colleagues, the people in your workplace. Would you appreciate them coming into work and saying, you know, I have an
Do you have an
opinion.
office? Do you have a receptionist?
Okay. I have to take a commercial. We'll be right back. You think about that, young man.
Planning to be in the Los Angeles area and would like free tickets to Politically Incorrect, call 323-575-4321.
All right, I just have time to answer your question. I don't think John Glenn is more moral because he made us put him up in space when he was an old man. It cost a lot of money. We could have just put him at Epcot and told him he was in space. Tomorrow we have Eric Idle, Meredith Brooks from Will and Grace, Eric McCormick, and our conservative Jack Berkman. Thank you, folks.
That's the latest from Britney Spears. It's called Crazy, Darren Henson choreographed. What's up, homie? It's Hot Zone. Of course, we're hanging out in the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, one of the mini sites of SMF 3D coming at you this weekend. I'll tell you more about that a little later on. You know we've been hanging out with the cast of Dogma all week. The movie opens Friday. That's this Friday on November 12th. Let's see how part one of my chat with Ben Affleck went when we talked about how he hopes the movie will change people. Take a look. Finish the statement for me. This movie will change the way people look at...
Selma Hayek's breasts.
and a too, actually.
I don't know. Organized religion, how's that?
Good. Do you have any organized religion that you follow?
No.
No. So your faith was your faith challenged by
my
doing
faith
anything
is
that you did?
No, it's like a continuing thing for me. I was like, oh boy. You know, this is really for me. This was about like playing a superhero. You know what I mean? Because Kevin took religious theology and made it into this kind of superhero movie out of it. And ultimately, kind of thematically, it's Kevin's struggle trying to reconcile being a devout Catholic with like what he sees in the world. Yeah, and that was his, you know, thing that he was on. And for me, it really wasn't about that as much. It was about just kind of the acting challenge and trying to make it convincing. It's kind of weird because it's this weird, funny satire movie, but I kind of am more serious, like especially towards the end, and I become the antagonist. So you got to walk a fine line, and you don't want, you know, if it's bad, it could really be embarrassing, you know. And so I was really preoccupied with that for the most part.
Ben Affleck doing his thing in Dogma. We got more Ben Affleck in a little bit, plus a little booty shaking video from Ricky Martin. He doesn't call it that. I just did. Hot Zone's coming right back. I'm gonna try to win some money while y'all gone. See you in a minute. That's Santana featuring Rob Thomas with Smooth. Ananda here, of course, hanging out at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Actually, I'm staying here, and the rooms are very cool. Plus, they have great slot machines and like gambling games, even though, you know, you gotta be 21, don't forget. But look, Jimi Hendrix. All right, y'all, I'm gonna tell you more about SMF 3D coming at you this weekend. But first, let's take a look at part 2 of my interview with Ben Affleck. It's all about Dogma. See what he has to say about the film that opens this Friday, November 12th. Take a look. You and Matt, obviously, it's easy for you guys to play buddies. It's the reality of your real relationship. What relationship do you think it would be really difficult to play opposite him?
Probably, well, I mean, anything where our ages were different. You know, where we had to, like, yeah, anything where we had to assume, like, some kind of a really dramatically different relationship. Or anything, it would be really hard to play opposite Matt, like, if we were both of us playing really far afield. Like, if he was playing, you know, some crazy old Cajun farmer, and I was supposed to be an Eskimo. Because I'd be looking at him, he'd be there going, oh, I know I'm good at that. And I'd think, this is bogus, you know what I mean?
You guys signed on to do the film while you were doing Good Will Hunting. And I know probably in Kevin's mind, maybe, if it were me, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes, I'd be like, oh my God, the press has made them huge, like, stars now. Are they still going to do my little Dogma film? Was there ever a time where you thought of turning your back on this film, or did you really believe in it from the beginning?
No, and in fact, it was also one of those things where this is excuse me, this is a movie that I had been wanting to do for a long time, since Chasing Amy when he gave me the script. I really wanted to be a part of this, and then we both kind of, you know, officially signed on during Good Will Hunting, and it was like a low budget movie for no money. And then after Good Will Hunting, it started to get a little bit more. They were going to put more into the effects, and they got this really cool cast. And then we were getting offered all this money, and so we kind of thought, like, oh, maybe they'll pay us some money, you know what I mean? And we were like, well, you know, maybe we should get paid, because this is like the 4th movie I'd done for like 0 money, for free, scale. And for Kevin, I did Chasing Amy. I lost money because I got 2 speeding tickets. That wiped me out. So I was kind of like, I thought maybe I could get over, you know, and they were like, no, it's cool, you just don't have to do the movie. Which basically, because they knew that I would never walk away from doing Kevin's movie, so
you seem to be
it just ended up being another free movie.
I got a little luck on my side. I won while you guys were away for a minute. Love Ben Affleck. All right, take a little break, come back. More Hot Zone from the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Vegas, and one more hot video from a woman who is definitely buzzworthy. Stick around and see if I can't get myself paid. Probably not. See you in a minute.
Next week on the show, by the way, and I'm not sure where we're doing it, we may be going back to America, but Bill Maher, Merv Griffin next week, Christina Ricci, and a musical group called the Violent Femmes. Wow, what a week on the Late Late Show. My next guest is our 2nd Oscar winner this week. We had Faye Dunaway on earlier. I guess that's another advantage of being in L.A. Great guests. You may have seen him in such films as Good Will Hunting and Armageddon. His latest, Dogma, opens today.
See, in the beginning, it was just us and him, angels and God. Then he created humans. Ours was designed to be a life of servitude and worship
and bowing and scraping and adoration. He gave them more than he ever gave us. He gave them a choice.
The greatest actor of our time. This is Ben Affleck!
Geez, only 15 people stood up.
Thank you for doing the show.
Thank you for coming. I think you actually are the greatest talk show host who ever lived. It used to be the Roe Show for me, but then the Roe Show.
Who's that?
You didn't watch the Roe Show? Rolanda.
Oh, wow,
The Roe
Rolanda. How
Show.
did I forget? Yeah.
Richard Bay,
Richard
the Roe
Bay.
Show, and then Kilburn. But now that I've had some exposure,
I love being compared to Richard Bay. No, but
he did the funny noises, remember?
Right.
The guests would be like, womp womp.
I think you watched more than I did on that. By the way, we've all seen Ben in the movie screen. I've actually met you a couple times. You look good on the movie screen, but I'm always taken aback. In person, you are just a very you're a very handsome man, as they say.
Thank you. Well, you're very well groomed.
Tall. Okay, it opens today, Dogma. We're all on the fence. It's controversial. Are we supposed to go see this,
controversial. Ben? You are supposed to go see it. In fact, it's kind of required because otherwise you won't know what to say.
We have to make
Monday
our own decision.
At work, you do have. That's how you do that.
Right.
You go, you see it, you make your own decision. No, it's really actually not very. I mean, I guess it's controversial. It's not really the legitimate, like the church or any kind of serious-minded people. It's kind of like Frank and Larry with their internet site in their basement protesting. You know what I mean? And getting their name in the
nobody
papers.
Important is
no, nobody important is going to get in your way.
Our audience, some of the guys
just
who'd be
some
watching.
of the the low-end folks.
Right. Now you're reunited. What an all-star cast with Matt Damon. Now, we want to go see you and Matt together. Do we have to sit through other people in the movie, or how does this work?
Only a little bit. No, you do have to sit through some other people, but they're all right. They're pretty good people to sit through, actually.
George Carlin?
George Carlin, who's really cool. He's he's very good. It's funny, like you do these movies, and I don't know any of these people. So there's like Carlin and Chris Rock and Alanis Morissette, and I sort of don't know what to think. And you have this sort of hero worship sense to them, and then you're like, wow, George Carlin, I'm a big fan of yours. And he's kind of like, yeah, kid, I got tapes. I'm funny. I was real funny. Gives you a couple tapes, and he's kind of like, go watch that in the room, and then come back.
He makes you brush up on his legend.
He wants you to know the material.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
I hope Chris Rock. He didn't do that to you.
No, but Rock is like, anybody want some little penny sneakers? It didn't sell that well, so he's got some in the trailer that you can get for free.
And I don't want to ask about Alanis. What was that like?
I thought that Alanis was going to be very, like the girl from the record. Like I thought maybe she'd be very hateful towards me and my gender in general, and really angry. And I was afraid I was going to remind her of all her savage ex-boyfriends, and she might castrate me or something. And then I met her, and she's just this very kind of like innocuous little Canadian girl, and she's like, hey, hi, how are ya? Oh, great. It's so nice to be here. It's a whole movie. And I'm like, what happened to ironic and the pill? And
that ruins it for all.
Go down on you in the theater. She's like, oh, I don't do that.
Is she, what role does she play in Dogma?
She plays our Lord and Savior. And I don't know why they're protesting this movie.
Yeah.
It just seems like, she plays God.
And Kevin Smith wrote and directed it, and you worked with him before Chasing Amy.
Yeah, we did Chasing Amy, which was a success, and
you must
Mallrats,
enjoy...
which was a catastrophic failure.
Right.
I don't know if you saw Mallrats, but...
but you enjoy working with Kevin.
I do. I like working with him. He's really, he's a very good guy. The only problem, really, is that he tended to, particularly in Chasing Amy, he had his script, and it was this little movie with this little budget, and I just thought, hey, it'll be fun, and we'll go there and we'll try the scene like in other movies.
Right.
And if you would deviate even the slightest little bit from what he wanted you to say, he would get really upset. He'd stop the take in the middle, he'd kind of come out, and he'd be like, cut, and I kept trying my own little bits, kind of like how I do on the show.
You're a very funny guy,
and
you do a lot of ad-libs.
I do the ad-libs, and eventually he just was like, you know what, let me tell you something. You think you're so funny? You think you're so talented? Go write your own script.
And that inspired Ben to write Good Will Hunting. Is that
I had something to sort of thank him for. Of course, then I realized that when I actually wrote it and had to give it to other actors, that, you know, because when you're just acting in it, you figure, you know, whatever, it's just the lines. And then when it's your script and other people are saying it, you're kind of like, and they just start trying out their weak material. You're kind of like, this isn't just something that we just thought up. You know, we really poured over this stuff and thought it out. And I realized everyone gripes about like the studio executives and giving you the bad notes, and that's sort of the Hollywood cliche. And I realized it's actually the other actors who have the worst notes.
Well, don't tell me. You wrote Good Will Hunting. I hope that the funny man Robin Williams didn't ad-lib anything.
No, well, Robin threw in a thing or two of his own. Yeah, he'll do that.
He'll do that
from time to time. But no, it's not really the Robin actors. It's more like the egotistical actors who they pretend that it's notes for the scene, but really it's kind of like you're acting in a scene with them, and they'll be like, you know what, I had an idea for this scene where maybe you don't talk.
That's good. That's good.
And maybe you're back there,
that's
and I'll just turn and talk to the camera. That's good. And it'll be my soliloquy, and you're kind of like, well, yeah, I guess that could be good. You know what I mean? And
that's terrible.
I've been cut out of more movies that way.
Now
I was in The Graduate originally.
Now listen. You're 27.
You know it's a bad joke when you get the
no.
Cut it out.
You're 27. You're a huge star. First of all, you haven't peaked
well,
too early.
I'm trying to get to Richard Burton, but I'm.
But you haven't. We don't have to worry about you, do we? I mean, as far as you're always gonna be big. You're not gonna be like being naked playing the bongos anywhere one day. I mean,
I do that all the time. No, I think it's. I think, you know what, like the people, I think you're a bad judge of kind of your own character, but I've noticed in other people I know, like Matthew McConaughey, who's a really great guy, you know, like, and other people who I've met who are famous, I guess, for lack of a better word, that really what it tends to do is kind of exaggerate the qualities that you already had, you know what I mean? Which is good for me, because I wasn't all that nice a guy to begin with, you know what I mean, or all that considerate, but now I can say, instead of just like I do something sort of rude or inconsiderate, and they just kind of be like, this guy's a jackass. You know, now they kind of go, well, he's changed. You know, it's Hollywood. That's the way it is.
Right.
You know
so I guess your advice is to the young jackasses out there is to go into movies.
Try to get into the pictures. Because
that
you
way
get away with stuff.
You will then be accepted.
Yeah.
Are you at all nervous about 5 questions? Because I know you're a very competitive guy.
I'm very tense, but I think I can handle it. Yeah.
Stay with us. 5 questions. Ben Affleck.
And now, tonight's Late Late Show trivia question. The hot new LA catchphrase is A, see you later, Isimo. B, until we meet again, Isimo. C, see you soon, Isimo. D, goodbye, Isimo. The answer, when we return. The answer to tonight's Late Late Show trivia question. If you said B, until we meet again, Isimo, you were correct. Here once again, Craig Kilborn.
Ben Affleck is right here. Let me, I don't want to put you on the spot. I want to ask you about some, I'm sure you get a lot of scripts to do movies in the future, and we took a poll in the office, and the leading ladies, maybe you decide on who to work with, depending on who you like. We had the men in our office want you to work with Angelina Jolie. The women are pushing for Jodie Foster, and then 3 guys want you to keep working with Matt Damon. But how do you pick? And is there someone you want to work with?
You know, it tends to be like, you know, by the script, and then who'll take me, you know what I mean? I'm attached to the script, they kind of find out, we lose a few right off the bat.
Right.
I actually like Jodie Foster a lot. She'd be really cool to work with. I mean, you know, I like these like women that aren't quite as famous. Like, you ever see Fargo, Frances McDormand?
Yes.
She, I think, is incredible, you know? Or you know, that Julianne Moore, did you see her in Shortcuts?
Did not. I don't see enough movies. I don't see enough movies.
She was in 9 months, but in Shortcuts she did some really wonderful work.
And so you just decide, you write your own scripts, but so you take other ones and you guys decide.
Yeah, which is largely, I don't make any of those decisions. Actually, it's all my agent, Patrick Weitzel, incidentally.
He is supposed to be one of the top agents in Hollywood.
That's largely a myth.
Right. Is it Weitzel?
It's Weitzel. We call him luckiest man alive around the office, but he's a very nice guy.
This is going nowhere. It is time for 5 questions. We actually were told, these are tough. We were told that you're a very bright young man. Where did you go to college?
No, I didn't go to college. You got the wrong information, but go ahead, fire away.
Did you drop out?
Yeah.
You dropped out of college.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that bodes well.
Your new movie is Dogma. We all know Mann's Chinese Theater is on Hollywood Boulevard. Where was Jesus crucified?
On the cross? He was, Golgotha is a hill.
Oh my God.
Where he was crucified.
Calvary or Golgotha. That is correct. That's a tough one.
Calgary is where the Flames play. And
Calgary. Right, Calgary.
But we know there's a monster in Dogma. That's how I know that. I don't know.
Are you a sports fan?
A little bit of a sports fan here.
True or false, the Boston Red Sox will win a World Series title in your lifetime?
True.
False.
Oh!
Besides Little Genie and Someone Saved My Life Tonight, what's your favorite Elton John song?
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road?
Incorrect. Benny and the Jets is what we're looking for. All right. Because this next one I don't think you're going to get. It's a 5 questions classic. I've asked it once before. In 1961, this is baseball again. Roger Maris led the majors in home runs. That year, who got hit in the head with the most balls? It's very tough.
Don Baylor?
Liberace. Oh. Cannot believe that. They wanted to hear it, Ben. You need this one for a good score, okay?
I do.
We were rough on you.
I'm going to be bad on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire,
right,
I think.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the rare audio 5th question.
And finally, Ben, come on, admit it. You could kick Leo DiCaprio's ass, right?
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy. He's a pretty big guy.
He's tiny. He's very tiny.
Do you know?
The answer is?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't. You'd have to be Celebrity Deathmatch. I beat Matt on Celebrity Deathmatch, though.
Yes, the answer is yes, you could. That is correct. Yes, you could. Thank you for being here. The movie is called Dogma. Big hand for Ben Affleck. We'll be back with Jamila.
Coming up, Craig tries desperately to keep it real, despite supermodel Jamila's efforts to make it not so real. All that and, oops, there's the Ewok guy again. Look at him. We'll be right back.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, the music of Sugar Ray, and 4 people who won our jaywalking segment. You know these things where we talk to people on the street? Well, we pick 3 of our smartest contestants. They will be pitted against each other for Battle of the Jaywalk All-Stars. They will battle questions here on our stage. Unbelievable. Also coming up, Heather Locklear, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold will be here. We're seeing Arnold's movie tonight. My date's Kevin Eubanks, Tom Hanks, Cameron Diaz, John Glenn, and Garth Brooks. So good week coming up. All right, my first guest, beautiful, talented young actress whose films include Desperado, Wild Wild West. She's also co-starring in the controversial new film Dogma, which is in theaters right now. Please welcome our buddy, Salma Hayek. You look lovely.
Thank you, Jeff.
I love dark-haired girls. See, this town goes nuts for blonde. I love that. You
Thank
look great.
you.
I like your hair. You look great.
You look lovely, too.
Thank you. I used to have dark hair when I was your age.
You can tell, you can tell.
You can tell, you can still see some
Yeah,
remnants of youth. Isn't that nice? Now, let me ask you, have you ever been to SeaWorld? Have you been?
No, I've never been to SeaWorld, but I've been kissed by a dolphin.
Kissed by a dolphin?
Yes.
Now, in your apartment?
No. One time I jumped into this place where dolphins were, where I was not supposed to jump in.
That would be the ocean?
No, it was a place where they just had them like SeaWorld,
Oh, okay.
you know, but
You snuck in, you mean?
I just jumped in. I just could not help myself. It was love at first sight. I saw these dolphins and I just threw myself at
Really?
him.
Now, were you skinny dipping?
No, I had a bathing suit. I was around. They had like water slides and stuff.
Oh, I see.
And I started making noises to the dolphin, and he just came and kissed me on the lips.
What, now you have a picture. Is this
Yeah.
a picture? Well, let's see. Where is it? Let's see.
There we are.
Oh, there you are. Oh, look at that, making it with a dolphin. Oh.
And I'm making it up.
Now, we were talking before. You tell me you have insomnia?
Yes.
Yes, you have trouble sleeping?
Very bad problem with him.
You know, I could help you out there. No, I'm teasing. No, I'm kidding. I'm being silly. Really, you have trouble sleeping?
Yes, I do.
Why? Why do you have trouble sleeping?
I don't know, because I'm very creative and I'm always trying to...
Hmm? Maybe it's what you're wearing. What do you wear when you sleep?
Well, I've tried everything and
Really?
nothing. I've tried...
You tried nothing? Nothing works?
Yes, well, nothing works,
Yeah,
you know, but...
So what do you do? Do you have cures?
Yes, you know, people are always trying to tell you the most ridiculous cures, like you have to soak in a bath with lettuce, you know, the lettuce that you eat.
Wait, with lettuce?
Yes.
I never heard that. Why would you soak in lettuce?
I don't know, because they're supposed to be relaxing. My friend Mia from Argentina told me to put my feet in hot water with mustard. Take a mustard bath for the feet. And that will put you to sleep. I haven't quite tried that one. But,
Yeah, I would stick with lettuce.
Yeah, I think you can make a salad and go to sleep. And my favorite one is the counting of the sheep.
The counting of the sheep.
Yes.
The counting of the sheep.
I count the sheep.
How many did you get up to before you...
I've gotten to 7,000, you know.
Really?
Eventually you go to sleep, you know.
Well, it seems like the sun would come up by 7,000.
Yeah, probably. You get 1 hour of sleep.
Now, if you lose count, you go back and start. You go back and start.
Yes, but you know, sometimes it's like right now it's not very practical because I'm doing this movie called was it Time Code 2000 with Mike Figgis, and there's no script. We're improvising everything.
There's no script. That can be troublesome.
I know. Trust me, no script. So I find myself, like, without not a lot of sleep, you know, I find myself talking about sheep all the time. People start telling me things, and all I improvise is, yes, and the sheep came, and the sheep, and all I can see are the sheep that I was counting the night before, so that's not working for me
That's not
anymore.
working.
No.
Then what do you do? In the middle of the night, you can't sleep, you get up. What do you do? Is there a ritual you have?
Yeah, no, I don't have a ritual, but I get, like, a creative bust, and I start doing weird things.
Really?
Yes, for example, I decide I'm going to make the best body lotion that's ever been made in
That
the
was going to be
history of
my
body
guess.
lotion.
That was going to be my guess. You're going to make the best body lotion?
Yes.
You know, it seems to work.
Yeah, it does, and I start, like, making...
No, what do you mean? How do you make body lotion? What do you do?
Well, I take existing body lotion and start mixing them up with, like, oils and honey and maybe perfumes and stuff, and sometimes you have to throw that all away, you know, but during the night it was very entertaining.
Yeah, no, I can see how that could be entertaining in the middle of the night, yeah. I mean, you do all this alone.
Sometimes it works, but if you want to repeat it, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Now, so what's the craziest thing you've done? What do you think?
In the middle of an insomnia attack, you know what's really fun? Well, it doesn't work anymore, but I used to call people like at 3 and 4 in the morning.
You used to call people. And they must really enjoy that.
No, you pretend it's the wrong number, but you go like, Jay? Hello, Jay. I'm calling you from Egypt. Who's this? This is your Aunt Rose. But, you know, star 69. Star 69.
Star 69, they call you right
the other
back.
one, the caller ID has...
Yeah, the caller ID.
enabled me to
Taking
do
all the
this.
fun out of that.
Yes.
How could your friends not know it was you? Hello, this is... Can you do an accent? Can you fake an accent?
No.
So they know it's you. Now tell me about Dogma. You know, I haven't had a chance. We were supposed to get a screening of this movie. I'm sorry I didn't see it. But it's caused a lot of controversy, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, you're Catholic. Are you upset about this movie? Because a lot of Catholics seem to be all upset about it.
I'm not upset about
No.
it. No.
Now, you're working with Matt Damon, right, and Ben. A lot of handsome men in this movie.
Yes, and Chris Rock and Linda Fiorentino.
Now, do these
And
guys
also-
do they all flirt with you? Do they all hit on you?
Not at all.
Really?
They don't pay any attention to me. No.
Really?
But they do something funny. Every time one of these members of this cast saw me, especially at the beginning, they would start like thinking of the one song they know with Spanish, you know, words in it. Like, for example, Ben would go, Oye, ¿cómo va? And then I would walk by Matt and he would go, Bésame, bésame mucho. They sing to themselves.
They sing
And
themselves.
Linda would sing Guantanamera. And Kevin Smith would always sing La Cucaracha, La Cucaracha. And Chris Rock would sing Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
And by the end of this movie, I I said, okay, this is never going to happen to me again because this big cast has gone through all the songs with Spanish. And then I went to my next movie, which is Chain of Fools, and I work with Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. Yeah.
And the first thing he says to me is, Vida, vida loca.
Well, that's the thing. You see the Latin thing, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Now, what is this clip? What do you play in this movie?
I play a muse.
A muse. Oh, you're like a spirit? You're someone who influences. Inspiration. You're an inspiration. Well, that works for me. All right, let's take a look.
Well, I'm a former muse.
A former muse.
The serendipity here isn't technically an angel, nor is she by any means a human being like I was and you are.
I used to be an abstract. Now I'm really confused.
I'm a muse, stupid.
I can't take much more of this. So you what? Inspire people?
What just went down with your friends over there? It doesn't really take a muse to inspire horny retards to empty their wallets. I used to specialize in entertainment. For example, I'm responsible for 19 of the 20 top grossing films of all time.
19?
Yeah, the one about the kid by himself in his house, burglars trying to come in and he fights them off. I had nothing to do with that one.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Dogma's in theaters right now. And you're going over to, you're going over to Kosovo, right? Did I read that?
Yes, I'm going to Kosovo on Monday.
And what are you doing in Kosovo?
Macedonia. I am serving dinner for the soldiers. Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, that should be fun. That should be fun. Are you going to perform?
Well, Jay, I wanted to ask you advice on this. I mean, I wish I could tap dance, but I don't know how to tap dance. I don't know what I'm going to do for them.
I don't know what you could do for those men over there, really.
Do you have any jokes for me?
I'll give you some jokes. The men would love to hear some. I'll give you some good jokes.
Okay.
I'll give you some good jokes. All right, Salma Hayek. Well, good luck. Good luck in Kosovo. We'll be right back with Christina Ricci right after this.
I'm mainly here to correct a major error that you people have been basing the faith on.
What's that?
Jesus wasn't white, Jesus was black.
I don't buy it. Kevin Smith became an instant icon to struggling independent filmmakers in 1994 with his surprise hit Clerks. Now with his fourth writing and directing effort, he has made one of the most controversial films in recent years. Dogma is the film that the Catholic League has been incensed about since its debut last May at Cannes. It has been both protested and praised for its biting commentary on modern-day Catholicism, and here is the trailer for the film.
You call me, you tell me it's important. We're going home. Take it, man, and quit leering at me. People are gonna think I just broke up with you.
Two fallen angels have just discovered a loophole that can get them back into heaven.
Outstanding work!
All they have to do is get to Red Bank, New Jersey. There's only one problem.
What are you? What do you want with me?
Stop a couple of angels from entering and thus negating all existence. I hate it when people need it spelled out for them.
Now,
I'm to charge you with a holy crusade.
One person has been chosen to stop them, but she won't have to do it alone.
I'm Jay. This is my hetero life mate, Silent Bob.
You gotta be kidding me.
Prophets, in a manner of speaking.
What about sex?
No sex.
Guys, I guess just don't follow the sky, you know? Oh, that sucks!
What are you?
I was the 13th apostle.
You knew Christ.
No, brother owes me $12. I thought she looked familiar.
Let me guess. The 14th apostle.
I'd like 2 tickets to New Jersey, please.
Jersey's sold out, sir. I suggest you not underestimate the staggering drawing power of the Garden State.
They're successful. You, me, all of this ends in a heartbeat. I feel like Han Solo, you're Chewie, and she's Ben Kenobi.
Prepare to taste God's wrath. Anyone who isn't dead or from another plane of existence would do well to cover their ears right about now.
The whole world's against us, dude. I swear to God.
What's he like?
God? It's got a great sense of humor. Take sex, for example.
Sex is a joke in heaven.
The way I understand it, it's mostly a joke down here, too.
Get it?
Kevin Smith is a writer and director and co-star of this much-talked-about comedy. He is joined by Chris Rock, one of the top comics working today. He stars in Dogma and currently hosts his own self-titled talk show on HBO. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks.
What's this so, why is this so controversial? What's
I think it's because Chris's butt shows up in the movie, naked butt.
Really?
Some people have objected. Other people,
I think because it's the only movie in the last 6 months without Sam Jackson in it. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yes. Sam's not in this, is he?
No, and people are awfully upset.
Well, I mean, how did you get all these people in this film is my better question.
I don't know, because we didn't pay them.
I could assume
I mean, everyone worked for scale, and scale is kind of like the minimum wage of the movie business. But either they like the script a lot or they just have really bad agents. Terrible representation.
Yeah, I got nothing. I lost money doing this movie.
Exactly.
I love the script. That's why I did it.
Yeah. But did you want to work with him? I mean, before the script, there was something about Chasing Amy or something?
Yeah, I saw Chasing Amy, and I was like, whoa, okay. It's finally a new romantic comedy. I consider every other romantic comedy in the last, 15 years to be basically a ripoff of Annie Hall.
Yeah.
Chasing Amy is a new kind of romantic comedy. But we're here to talk about Dogma. And once I saw Chasing Amy, I was like, I got to work with this guy.
Yeah. So then you get a script.
I get a script. First, Harvey tries to get me to do a movie about a bunch of rappers on a bus.
Harvey being?
Harvey Weinstein. Yeah. And I couldn't do the bus movie. No. So I said, what's Kevin Smith doing? And they gave me a script, and I liked it, and I met with Kevin. And
then he said, this is scale, and you said, no bother, who cares?
Sam Jackson said, I'm not taking scale. They gave me a call.
Yeah. So you got all these good actors. You got the script that you like a lot, you know? What's the plot line?
The plot line concerns these two angels who were kicked out of heaven years ago, and they find a loophole centuries later, eons later, millennia later, that allows them to get back into heaven. But if they do it, what they don't realize, it'll end existence, because it would prove God fallible. So a bunch of people kind of set out to stop him. Chris is one of them. Linda Fiorentino plays a character named Bethany. She's another. Salma Hayek plays a muse. Serendipity, she's another. Two characters we've used a lot in our other pictures. Jay and Silent Bob, they're prophets in this movie.
So why is the Catholic League so upset?
The Catholic League, I think, is upset because it was a Disney movie initially. This is my feeling. The film was a Miramax movie. By virtue of that, it was a Disney film. The Catholic League is an organization, as you know, they're heat seekers. You know, they love to go after stuff that raises their profile. It doesn't necessarily go after things that are necessary or really intentionally attacks on the faith or the church. They go after things that they feel attacks them as Catholics. They feel that Disney attacks Catholics constantly, whether it's with Nothing Sacred, the TV show that was on ABC a little while ago, or Priest, the Miramax movie that was out a few years ago, or Disney's same-sex health benefits policies, or the alleged gay day they have at Disney World every year. Always going after Disney, and we were just the ripe, luscious opportunity for them to go after Disney that week. We were kind of the target du jour.
You think it's simply that? I mean, they found nothing that was offensive to them, nothing that they
Charlie, they hadn't seen a frame of film. And they maintained, well, we pulled the script off the internet, but that's just not the same thing. It was a third draft. We shot
why
a
is the
6
script
or
on
7.
the internet? That's a whole...
I don't know. That kind of ticked me off as well.
Me, it would tick me off, too.
It did upset me, but I couldn't be that upset because back before I made movies, I used to go to comic book conventions and buy scripts of movies that were in production. So, you know, turnabout's fair play.
For what effect? Why
to
would
read,
you do that?
to read, and
just
just
to see
when
what
you're a
was going
fan.
on.
I mean, that's why the script was on the internet. It wasn't up there because people were trying to pooch my project. I guess people liked what we had done, so they kind of wanted to get ahead of themselves and read the script. So to me, the Catholic League's real outrage about the movie was not an outrage at all. It was a very well-designed publicity campaign. And if you read their materials and whatnot, it reflects that as much to me. I mean, I've read so many things where Bill Donahue said, I tried to contact Eisner about this movie.
He's their spokesperson.
Bill Donahue is a spokesperson. He's the head of the Catholic League. Right. I tried to contact Eisner, he says, when I heard about this movie, because I wanted a meeting with him, and I wanted him to show me the script, and he wouldn't contact me. It's just like, well, why not call me? I'm the author. You know, I mean, I'm accessible. I'm in Jersey. I'm not doing anything. You could find me any time of day, but there's no press in going after the guy who made Clerks or saying, I talked to the guy who made Clerks. You know, people are like, so? Yeah. The Eisner equation was the big thing for him, and that became very clear to me, too, once the 6, 7 months into this campaign by the Catholic League against the movie, we finally got a call in our office from the Catholic League, and this was about 3 weeks ago, saying, Dr. Donahue would like a screening of the film set up. This was great. It was a message I wanted to frame. It was so good. Dr. Donahue wants a screening of the film set up for him so he can speak about it intelligently. And I was just like, what's he been doing for the last 6 months? Makes no sense.
Why didn't he hold his fire? Yeah. So what do you think about this controversy there?
The controversy, to me, it shows a lack of faith in God when you really think about it. Because if you really believe in God, then he's powerful. In the movie,
he's all-knowing.
He's all-knowing and all-powerful and, can pretty much handle everything himself. So to me, the Catholic League or whoever is protesting is actually dissing God more than this movie ever will.
It speaks volumes of a lack of faith in God.
It really speaks of a lack of faith in God. It's like,
only Chris Rock can make that connection.
That's my connection. God's like, oh, you want to cut on the sun while you're at it?
Now, you're saying the Catholic League is unknowing about God?
I'm saying if you can... The movie, it's just a movie. It can only affect mortals in the movie business. A movie cannot affect God. It can't affect my God. My God's powerful. My God made the moon, the stars, and the water, and the trees, and everything. My God made everything. You can make all the movies you want about my God.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
He's right.
He's way above that.
Powerful, man.
He's powerful.
He's God. The other line is that, the other thing is, my God's too busy to care about a movie.
My God's got things to do, man.
He's got things to do. He's got wars to worry about and suffering and all kinds, and so we don't want to be involved.
I don't know, everybody else's God's, going to the multiplex, but my God's got a full plate.
He's not worried about what you do on HBO.
No.
He doesn't care.
He said what?
He was irreverent. Chris who?
God's got a really full plate.
Yeah, but you don't question. You question the. Well, you're saying basically they're doing this for PR purposes. Is that to raise money or whatever?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at their literature, and I've had a chance to do it over the last few months, doesn't really talk about the faith. Doesn't talk about Christ. Talks about how their outrage as Catholics, how as Catholics they have to defend themselves against attack, against them being Catholics. They take everything very personally, and we saw it with the Brooklyn Art Museum, the Sensations exhibit. There's a painting, okay, of the Madonna done by somebody using elephant dung in places, but a painting that wasn't made. It's not a painting that mocks the Catholic League with a picture of Bill Donahue as a clown or something like that. That's a painting of the Madonna, and they're like, that's an attack on us as Catholics, and it makes no sense to me. I mean, it's not really an attack on them as Catholics. It's them as Catholics taking something far too personally.
The only problem I have with that is that you can't reach inside of somebody's motivations and know what the hell they're thinking. I mean, I suspect there are some people that legitimately may feel very strongly, about the exhibition, or legitimately may feel strongly about whatever it is.
Sure, that's why I'm not saying across the boards, like anyone who's upset by that is wrong. Catholic League, though, I mean, saw it as an excellent opportunity to just build publicity for themselves based on the Sensations exhibit, because for the first half of the year, it was all about Dogma. And as soon as the Sensations opened up, boy, suddenly, he was like, we're going over there, never mind Dogma. Which is fine. It was great. It cut us some slack for a little while, but...
So you were there praising Sensations.
I was just like, I feel bad for the city of New York, and I feel bad for the artists, and I feel bad for America.
But I'm certainly glad it's take me off the hot air.
Slack, that's great.
Yeah. Tell me the character you play in this movie.
I play Rufus,
Rufus?
Rufus of Shaka Khan. No, Rufus, the 13th apostle.
Yes. I didn't know about Rufus before.
Yeah, left out of the Bible because he was black.
Yeah.
And is trying really hard to get back in the Bible. That's why he's going to help out Bethany, with her whole thing.
And Rufus knew Jesus personally.
Rufus was Jesus' best friend. Stickball buddies.
Chris added that little bit for his own motivation while he was shooting. Kevin, did they play stickball again? I'm like, whatever, Chris. He's like, excellent. They were stickball buddies.
Put it in the film. Yeah, that's right. And Jesus owes Rufus some money, doesn't he?
Jesus owes Rufus about $12. Yeah.
About $12.
That was a big deal in those times.
And plus interest.
That was money, big money at that time. Yeah. All right, roll tape. Here is Chris. He's introducing Salma Hayek, who plays Serendipity, to Bethany, who's played by Linda Fiorentino.
Serendipity here isn't technically an angel, nor is she by any means a human being like I was and you are.
I used to be an abstract.
Now I'm really confused.
I'm a muse, stupid.
I can't take much more of this. So you what? Inspire people?
What just went down with your friends over there? It doesn't really take a muse to inspire horny retards to empty their wallets. I used to specialize in entertainment. For For example, I'm responsible for 19 of the 20 top grossing films of all time.
19?
Yeah, the one about the kid by himself in his house, burglars trying to come in and he fights them off. I had nothing to do with that one.
Now, define the kind of movies you make. I mean, how do you see
personally,
this
or
world?
define it from the words of the reviews that I've seen?
No. You know what you see.
What I think I make films that are kind of personal. I put up movies that I kind of would like to see myself. Yeah. And I like to make movies about guys or situations that I find myself attracted to or just kind of interested in or stuff I haven't seen before. Because I like movies. I like all kinds of flicks. I like going to big bombastic type Hollywood movies, but you don't really identify with them all the time. Yeah. Like, it's great to watch Die Hard and see John McClane running around, but I don't identify with John McClane. I would never jump off a building, you know, I would never shoot a terrorist. I would never take my shirt off in
Bruce,
public.
Right?
I mean, yeah, the character that Bruce plays. I wouldn't take my shirt off in public.
Sam was in that.
Yeah, Sam was in
there. He was there.
One of the other ones. Right?
Die Hard, which one?
Whatever.
Die Hard 3, or 4. With a Vengeance. Die Hard
with a Vengeance.
Yeah. So sometimes I just like to make flicks that I would like to go see and see myself in, reflected in. I guess that's kind of the small audience we have digs that as well.
You feel good about this?
About the movie? I feel wonderful about it. It's a funny flick, and it makes you think. I mean, if you walk out of the movie and maybe you think about your own faith or your own spirituality, or maybe not, at least you've been entertained.
And you want people to do that?
That'd be nice, and that's why I couldn't understand why people would be so up in arms about a movie that made anyone think about their own religion or their own faith, because nobody does that. No movies make you do that anymore. Movies are largely...
Pokemon.
All right, besides Pokemon, no movies really make you do that, and regardless of whether it's kind of surrounded in foul language or whatever that we've been accused of having in the movie, as long as you walked out thinking about something, other than like, oh, that popcorn was expensive, or oh, that movie, sucked. I think that's a good thing.
Thank you. Great to have you. Thank you. Dogma, go see it. Back in a moment. Stay with us.
Tonight, sex in the 20th century. Who better to chronicle the story than editor-in-chief of Playboy magazine, Hugh Hefner? Also on the guest list, a musician you're going to hear a lot of this holiday season, saxophonist Kenny G. And it's full of treats to eat, and it might help save your life. Michael Milken, cancer survivor, joins us to talk about a terrific new cookbook. Plus, this show business veteran pulls no punches in his Tinseltown memoirs. Bernie Brillstein says you're no one in Hollywood unless someone wants you dead. And finally, a new movie, Dogma, has some folks mad as heck. We'll talk controversy and Catholicism with its brilliant young writer-director, Kevin Smith. All next on Larry King Live. We begin with Kevin Smith. He's at our studios in Washington. He's the writer and director of Dogma, the comedy which opened last week, distributed by Lionsgate. This was originally, Kevin, supposed to be distributed, what, by Disney, right?
It was a Miramax film originally, which by virtue of that makes it a Disney film, yeah.
And then the Weinstein brothers, those terrific guys, got a lot of complaints, so they bought it out and gave it to Lionsgate, right?
They did. They kind of saved the movie from winding up on a back shelf somewhere at the behest of Disney. Had it actually come to that, they bought it and then found a home for it at Lionsgate.
This is satire, is it not? Dogma is I saw on CNN last week, you got a great review, and one of the boys said he was an altar boy and he couldn't stop laughing. It was funny.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it satire. Satire is usually reserved for brilliant people, and I'm certainly not brilliant. But there's some satiric material in it, and it's very funny, but it's overall, it doesn't really go after Christianity the way some people have said it has, or really go after Catholicism the way that some people says it has. It's just kind of a funny movie with a lot of faith in it.
And you're Catholic, right?
Yeah, practically.
Why is your church so adamant about, like, not banning maybe a strong word, certainly coming out very strong against it?
Well, to be fair, it's not really the Catholic Church. Catholic Church hasn't really said anything about the movie. It's this group called the Catholic League, which is kind of self-appointed media watchdogs, which have been coming after the flick for the last 6 or 7 months. And the nearest I can figure is they went after the movie because they're kind of heat seekers. They go after anything that will bring them some national attention. At the time we were a Disney flick, it made absolute sense, I guess, for them to go after us. They seem to go after Disney quite a bit. They go after Disney for their same-sex health benefits and for the alleged gay day that Disney World has every year, and Nothing Sacred, which was on ABC, the show about the priests that they claim they got taken off the air, even though they never mentioned the bad ratings the show had.
Are you mad at Disney?
No, not really. I mean, at the end of the day, it's business for them, and do they really want to get behind a tiny $10 million flick that's going to bring them a lot of heat from a very small right-wing group, or do they just want to do business as usual? They are the family-oriented company. So, no, I guess I can kind of understand why it was better not to have this movie for them. And just as I understand it was better for us not to have them as our distributor or a distributor, you know.
Well, you had a very good opening. Why do you think, it's the one thing incomprehensible is when you bring about to slam something, you increase the interest in it.
I guess. Yeah, it's always kind of, I find it puzzling that the campaign was so self-defeating. Like, in all their effort to kind of chastise the movie, or you know, chastise is such a soft word, to get it banned, they really brought a lot more awareness and attention to it. However, it wasn't the kind of awareness or attention that I was really looking for. I mean, it's an entertainment, right? And they turned it into a polemic. And of all the movies about Catholicism or movies in which priests are portrayed or tenets of the faith are portrayed, I mean, this movie comes up so on their side. I mean, it extols all the virtues of Christianity, comes up on the side of church and God, and it's kind of conservative in its weird, off-the-wall way, but this was the movie they felt they wanted to make an example of, I guess.
In a moment to describe it, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are...
They play a couple angels who were cast out of heaven.
Old angels, right?
Old angels, yeah, real old angels. And they've been on Earth for quite some time. They were kind of cast out, and they find a loophole in Catholic dogma that will allow them to re-enter heaven, but in the process that would prove God fallible, and the existence would kind of crash in on itself. So there's a small group of people who are kind of set out to stop them. This woman who's a descendant of the Christ line, and a 13th apostle played by Chris Rock. Salma Hayek plays a muse, and these two characters have been in all the flicks we've done, Jay and Silent Bob, who are supposed to be prophets in this movie.
And God is a woman, is she not?
God, yeah, shows up as both, as a man in the beginning, as a woman at the end.
Well, was this the kind of thing fun to do? Was the cast having fun doing it?
I would hope so, because nobody got paid, so I would really hope they were having a good time.
You didn't have to pay Matt, Matt Damon took what, scale?
Yeah, everyone took scale, which, as you know, is kind of like the minimum wage of the movie business. So either they had a passion for the project or really bad representation. I can't figure out which.
You're in it yourself, right?
Yeah, I show up as Silent Bob, character I've played in 4 films we've done so far.
You were originally writing comic books, right?
I came to comics later. I wanted to be a comic book writer, but I thought film was kind of easier to get into, and at least I found it was easier to get into. And by virtue of the fact that I was a filmmaker, it made it a lot easier for me to write some comics. So I've written a lot of comics based on the stuff we've done, this movie Clerks, and there was a Jay and Silent Bob miniseries, and I worked for Marvel Comics and did this 8 issues on this title called Daredevil.
The original Daredevil or a new Daredevil?
It's the original Daredevil, Matt Murdock, blind lawyer, blinded by a radioactive isotope, who goes out in the red suit, fights crime.
It was one of my favorites. Red and blue?
Yeah, at one point he was yellow and black, and then kind of in the 70s he became red, all red. But it's a character who has a deep Christian background as well. He's kind of raised Catholic, so it was a lot of fun for me to work on.
Catholicism still very much a part of you?
Absolutely. I go every Sunday. I just last night had my daughter baptized. I had a 4.5-month-old daughter, and she just got baptized. We just brought her into the faith as well.
You must be shocked then that the church is doing this to one of its believers, or an element of the church.
Yeah, the element of the church, which isn't even really to me even an element of the church. I mean, like I said, they kind of come across to me as heat seekers and don't really talk about Christ or Christianity much in their propaganda or their material. It's all about how they're offended personally as Catholics. They kind of tend to put themselves before the Lord, which I find quite interesting.
Is it also true, Kevin, you've got, out of all this, a new deal with Miramax?
Yeah, we re-upped recently. We've been with Miramax for years now, since like '95, and we just re-upped the other day, which was kind of cool. I mean, it's still our home. We love Harvey and Bob. They've always been good to us. They started us on our careers with Clerks.
They're great people. Continue doing what you're doing, Kevin. We need more people like you.
Thanks, man. I'm going to try.
Kevin Smith. The film is Dogma. He's the writer and director, and it's playing everywhere. And we'll be back with Hugh Hefner, who might have some words on the same topic right after this.
I'm talking about raining down fire and brimstone, punishing the wicked. He's all about that. I know he'd want this done.
There hasn't been an angel of death since you quit. Doesn't that mean anything to you? And besides, what if you're wrong like you always are?
If I'm wrong, which I'm not, it's not going to matter. We're going to pass through your arch thing anyway. We're going to be forgiven. No harm, no foul.
Well, he does hate competition. I will say that. And your movie certainly falls under that heading.
All right, where is this church we have to go to?
New Jersey. Rededication ceremonies in 4 days.
Last 4 days on Earth? If I'd go get laid. We can do the next best thing.
What's that?
Huh? Let's kill people. Oh, not you.
Us